Hey there, Doodle lover. Are you ready to finally feel proud of your Doodle's behavior? Not just their adorable face? Then don't miss my free 10-day Doodle Parent Challenge starting September 5th. It's the training reset you've been craving. Live, science-backed, and built just for Doodle parents like you. Head to thedoodlepro.com/parent challenge to save your free spot now. That's thedoodlepro.com/parent challenge. I'll see you inside. Imagine you're a man with some thick 1970s chest hair, and you were to zip up your sweater really fast and catch the chest hair in the zipper. Well, now you're going to run around and go for a jog with that chest hair stuck in that zipper. Doodle breed dogs are easy to love, but can be challenging to parent. I'm Doodle expert Corinne Gearhart, also known as the Doodle Pro, and I'm here to help Doodle parents have a more fulfilling and rewarding experience with their Doodles. No one has professionally worked with as many different Doodle breeds or has more experience with Doodles than I have, and I love to share my expertise in a fun, compassionate, and non-judgmental way. From my years of work and education in the pet care and dog training industry, I have an incredible network of skilled training, grooming, and veterinary professionals to share their knowledge with you and give you the Doodle-specific answers you're looking for. I hope you enjoy today's episode as I help you parent your Doodle like a pro. If you've had other dogs before that weren't a Doodle mix, you might have wondered, what's going to be the big deal about their coats? Holy moly! Doodle coats are a whole different ballgame. Today, we're going to have an overview of the need-to-know details on how to care for your Doodle's coat. We'll discuss the best tools, how to bathe correctly, if a summer shave is a good idea, and why groomers care so much about matting. At the end of this episode, you should finish more informed and ready to take on your Doodle's coat in a quicker, more comfortable way so your Doodle can look fabulous and have a healthy and comfortable coat with less time from you. Coming with the non-shedding, more hypoallergenic side of things comes a lot of maintenance on our end. The more furnishings, that means how much kink and curl is in your Doodle's coat, the less shedding, but the more maintenance that is involved. If your Doodle has a mix between their other breed and the poodle, they can get matted a lot faster. So poodles can get matted, but they don't have the mix of an undercoat. There is no undercoat. It's like human hair where it just keeps growing and it isn't meant to fall out at a faster pace. If your dog has a looser, more likely to shed coat, kind of flatter looking, less kink, you're not going to need to do as much maintenance. They're not as easily matted, but you still need to keep up with their coat. They're not going to just shed it all out. They still need regular trims. Their hair is like ours where it just keeps growing. If you were to not comb or wash your hair for 6 weeks, wear a headband around kind of like a collar or harness for 6 weeks, they'd have to shave your head too. So I want to walk you through the tools and the methods to keep your Doodle's coat healthy and comfortable. First, let me share the tools that you need. I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. I just want to save you time and your Doodle discomfort by sharing the best. You can find a list of these in the show notes. The first is called a slicker brush. The best one out there is the Chris Christensen Big G Coral Brush. When I first got our late standard poodle Hershey, I saw the price of this and I knew it was the most highly recommended by groomers and poodle parents alike. And I was like, there is no way I'm spending more than $50 on a brush. Well, I spent more than $50 trying a bunch of other cheaper brushes, and then I still bought this one. Again, the Chris Christensen Coral Big G Brush. I use the large. If you're only getting one brush and your dog's more than 15 pounds, I would just go for the large. You can get the medium if you want for spots like under the armpits or along their legs, but you don't really need a second smaller one. And your Doodle will appreciate if you have the larger head one instead, so it all goes quicker. Now let me talk you through a couple of reasons why this one's so great. If I rake it against my own hand, it doesn't hurt at all. And I don't have any fur coat on the palm of my hand protecting me. But their tiny little needles and pins are able to rake all the way down. Whether your doodle has an undercoat or not, it's able to rake all the way through. You're going to take sections at a time. First, you're going to use your slicker brush. Second, you need to have a greyhound comb. A link to a sample greyhound comb is in the show notes. Now, luckily, these are cheap, and it doesn't matter which one you get. A greyhound comb is a greyhound comb. You could buy the $5 ones on Amazon. The teeth on the greyhound comb are just a little rounded, and you need to be able to comb through to the skin on your doodle. If you're multitasking, please come back to me just for a second. I want to share this important point again. You need to be able to comb through to the skin of your doodle. If you use just the slicker or another brush, you might just get the top of the coat. There are tons of good, well-meaning doodle parents who go to the groomers and say, I brush my doodle every day. They can't be matted. When that doodle goes in the back, the doodle groomer takes one of these greyhound combs out and tries to brush through the skin. If they can't, they're not going to be able to just trim your dog. So let me tell you a secret why. Groomers use clippers. If you haven't played around with grooming clippers, it's just like you'd see at a man's barber shop, where they have the guard covers on the top. And those guards have teeth. If the clippers can't glide through the coat down to the skin, they can't use the clipper with the guard, with the teeth. And that means they have to go under the mat, which means they can't use the guard and leave length on your doodle's coat. So if you want to test ahead of time to see if your dog is going to need to get the dreaded shave down, the greyhound comb is the key. Now let's say you're going through and you find some mats. You can use a detangler. I've done a trial run of the top two. The first one's a spray named Mat X by Arturo, and the second is a gel called Cowboy Magic. One of the tricks, if you have some mild matting, is to take the spray and spray it on your slicker brush. If you use a ton of detangler spray on your doodle, you're going to find they get kind of greasy. And just like us, if we have a lot of buildup on our hair, it's going to lead to tangles and it's just going to start a vicious cycle. But a slight spritz of this when you're trying a dry groom, when you're just maintaining their coat, is going to make it more comfortable for your doodle. And it's going to make getting through any tangles quicker and easier. If you have a grooming appointment coming up, use your greyhound comb to check for mats before their visit. If they aren't bad, you can give your doodle a head start working through them. You will find really quickly that the mats take a long time to work out in a comfortable way for your doodle. If your doodles are going to the groomer, they're going to get their bath, a high velocity blow dry, and they're going to stand on a table. They're going to stand the whole time. And they're going to go through a difficult, sometimes painful dematting on top of it all. You can understand why when it's already a 3-hour groom, a caring groomer might say it's not fair to the doodle to put them through all of that in one session. Now, some people like the idea of a summer shave, where they just shave their doodle down once or twice a year. As I described before, if you had hair on your head and you didn't bathe it, condition it, or brush it, and you had a headband on all the time and you just shaved it off once a year, think of the infections on your skin that you would have underneath. Even worse, there's the added level of pain. So we're not really moving our scalp around as we're running and playing and laying down and stretching out. But with their coat all over their full body, if a doodle has tangles in the common spots like their armpits, behind their ears, on their belly, around their neck, under their collar, that's a different story. An analogy I've heard is imagine you're a man with some thick 1970s chest hair, and you were to zip up your sweater really fast and catch the chest hair in the zipper. Well, now you're going to run around and go for a jog with that chest hair stuck in that zipper. I don't have chest hair and it's not the 1970s, but I can only imagine and empathize with the man in that scenario, or the doodle whose hair is caught really tight and tangled. Every time they try to run or stretch, their movement is restricted. So when we're doing just that annual or semi-annual shave down, yes, we're not brushing their coats that often, so it's saving all of us some time and effort and labor. If it's a doodle that doesn't like their coat being brushed, you're saving them that, but you're also letting them have those tangles that can really restrict their comfort during play. Additionally, some really bad skin infections can occur under the mats because there's no air circulation underneath. It gets really pelted. So that's a difficult piece as well. If your doodle doesn't like getting groomed, or it's just not something your family's able to fit into your schedule, you can do really short haircuts. You don't have to go for the long coat. That's another option. You just don't want to wait 6 months or a year between doing so. That raises a really important topic of how often should I get my doodle in for grooming? Now, if you want to keep your doodle's coat longer, if you love that shaggy teddy bear look, you're going to want to talk to your groomer about their specific coat's needs, and they will likely recommend that you go every 4 to 6 weeks. I bring my Cavapoo Nestle in about every 5 weeks. I schedule our grooming sessions a year out in advance here in Denver, Colorado, especially with the addition of lots of pandemic puppies on their schedule. A lot of groomers across the country are filling far out. So that's the ideal schedule if you want to be maintaining their coat and you love that teddy bear shaggier look. Let's say you want to go shorter. You could space that out more. It does take a while for the coat to get long enough to create those mats and tangles. So if you regularly do a really short cut, that's great, especially if your doodle loves playing in the water and you want to be able to give them frequent baths. That brings us to a point about bathing. So every time water touches a tangle, it cements it onto a mat. If there's a mat already on your doodle's coat and they get a bath or go swimming, now that mat is impossible to get through. So it's a lot of work to give a long-coated doodle a bath because you need to get through and brush all of the tangles first before they get in the water. Yes, we are brushing and getting through all of the tangles before they even get in the bath. And then, of course, it's pretty logical while you're giving the bath, you're not really rubbing in there, giving too much friction. You're doing the massage, getting down to their skin and cleaning them well, but you're not trying to create more tangles with extra friction or rubbing them vigorously with a towel when you dry them off. When you're done bathing your doodle's coat, you must use a high-velocity dryer every single time. When you have a coat that is long at all, unless it's kept super, super short, a high-velocity pet dryer is a must. They just work so much better at blowing the coat out straight. And yes, they look like floof balls, and that's not usually what everyone likes, but I'll share a secret with you later in the episode on how to fix that. But if you don't get the coat straight first, grooming between now and the next time the coat gets wet is going to be a pain. If you can't get that coat straight all the way down to the skin, then you're going to be brushing through tangles that develop quicker all the way until the next time you blow that coat out again. Blowing your doodle's coat out, if you have a high-velocity pet dryer, can go pretty quickly, and you can work on desensitizing your doodle, which will help them at the groomers. I don't take my doodle swimming at the lake, etc. very much because I don't always have time to do that whole process. While he's a dog who enjoys swimming sometimes, we make sure we give him that time, but we don't just throw him in the bath every other day and let him shake it off, because I know that's a recipe for him to get painful mats and tangles. I want brushing to be comfortable and easy for him. So every single time I've given our doodle Nestle a bath, we always finish with a high-velocity dryer. Now, additionally, if you don't have time for all of that, but you love your dog being squeaky clean, you can drop your doodle off to the groomers just for a bath and blow dry. So I don't know if you've been or heard of this, but there's a company called Dry Bar for us humans. They don't cut our hair, but they do a great shampoo and a beautiful, stylish blow dry, saving our arm muscles, and it's quite a treat. It's similar to that. Some groomers will add things like a sanitary trim or what they call a feet, face, and fanny. That means trimming around the eyes and muzzle, trimming their paws, and making sure their privates are all nice and clean and tidy. You can do that every 2 to 3 weeks if you'd like. And that's also a great strategy if you're trying to grow the coat longer and you want to space out your grooming appointments more. Those appointments are cheaper, and it also keeps your doodle's coat nice and healthy and free of tangles. I mentioned a tip if you don't like your doodle's coat super floofy after a grooming appointment or you blowing it out at home. Grab a water bottle and set it on the mist setting. Give your doodle a slight mist onto their coat, and the tips of the doodle's coat will kind of turn into those formed cute little coils or get more piecey while still staying loose on the skin. So you'll be able to comb through easier all the way down to their skin, but you'll get the look that you like. Some people worry that their doodle is mortified when they pick their doodle up from the groomer. If your doodle went in full of mats or just a really long coat and they got shaved down or a really short cut, they might look like they're embarrassed. I often joke when I see my doodle clients after a big haircut, your doodle looks naked, which might not help things to their parent now that I think about it. But your doodle does not feel like they look ugly. They feed off of our reactions. So a lot of times when those doodles come out of the groomer, a lot of parents responded, "Oh no, my baby!" And doodles pick up on that right away. But what's also happening is they feel a lot of new sensations. If they've had a really thick coat and now it's gone, they feel temperature different. They feel the breeze more. The texture on the sofa feels different against their skin. So doodles don't feel embarrassed when they get a haircut we don't like. They don't have the capacity for that emotion, but they might feel differently for a little while and get used to it. I've listed these in the show notes, but the must-haves for your doodle's coat are the Chris Christensen Big G Coral Brush, that's the slicker brush, any Greyhound comb, and a detangling spray. And if you're giving baths at home, you'll want a high-velocity pet dryer. I did a time trial between the Matte X and the Cowboy Magic detangling spray, and the Matte X was in the lead slightly, with the working the fastest without any bad residue. I hope this helps your doodle have a more healthy and comfortable coat and saves you time in maintaining it and leaves your doodle looking fabulous. Thanks for joining me on this episode of the Doodle Pro Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to rate and review us wherever you get your podcasts. And I invite you to follow me on Instagram at @TheDoodlePro for behind-the-scenes peeks at all of the adorable doodles I work with daily.